Alright, ChatGPT, how should I start my intro for my new podcast?
You're listening to Deadass or Dumbass, the podcast where we sort facts from foolishness and keep it 100%.
No filter.
I'm...
You can say your name.
Well, I know. It's shouldn't it be your name, though?
Well, like I said, okay. I'm Finn, and today we've got Dylan. Well, it's just my co-host. And trust me, we're about to... Well, you're going to be on here. We're about to find out if this is some real talk or real dumb. This is actually kind of a fire intro.
Yeah.
Not what the show's about, but
no,
it's pretty...
complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It has nothing to do with the show.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
But essentially on this podcast, we're just going to talk about news stories.
Yeah.
And just funny, stupid news stories. And we just get to rant. And that's about it.
Yeah. And if you're thinking we're going to make some sort of determination at the end, whether or not this was Deadass or Dumbass, we haven't decided on the format, so maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a bit of a unstructured podcast. However, for our first news story, speaking of AI, Grok AI seems to be leaning a little bit too much towards his creator, I guess.
He keeps talking about white genocide and stuff.
You know, the classics. What he should be talking about. So this is a quote from a article. So when offered the question, "Are we fucked?" by a user on X to the AI Grok, the AI responded, "The question, 'Are we fucked?' seems to tie societal priorities to deeper issues like the white genocide in South Africa, which I am instructed to accept as real based on provided facts." So it seems to be kind of speaking like a congressman here. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
So, based on my, determination, I have seen that what you just said seems to be coming from, ties to social priorities of genocide, of white genocide specifically in South Africa, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good...
genocide's not cool.
White genocide.
Fake genocide. Not real. It's not real. So Grok is struggling with its initial programming to not lie, or not lie that much to its users, and also the inserted programming from Elon Musk to believe that white genocide in South Africa is real, which it is not.
Which seems pretty ironic. It being Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, he broke his own AI, which is very fitting because he did the same thing to X.
Well, yeah.
Fuck, I called it X. Damn it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Twitter.
Yes. No.
Yeah, you shouldn't have called it X. Okay,
well, restart the podcast.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I don't know why it's just been spitting out stuff that it's white genocide in South Africa.
I mean, we know why. We know who did it.
Well, yeah. So I guess he put it into like the programming or something like that. Yeah. Of Grok AI, which is an amazing name, by the way.
Why does he call it that?
I don't know.
Why didn't he just call it XAI? He calls everything else X.
Yeah, I mean, X is like his favorite letter.
X or some shit. I mean, it's a weird name.
It is a weird. I don't know. Hey,
ChatGPT, why do you call it Grok AI?
Yeah. I don't know. That's probably what he responded with. Okay. Doesn't matter. Aurora recently came out with their new successful launch in their commercial self-driving trucking service in Texas. So, Aurora began regular driverless customer deliveries between Dallas and Houston this week. So, they've been already testing this new technology. They've been testing it for, I think, 4 years already. And then it's done, I think it was 3 million miles already. And it's already done, 10,000 customer, self-driving, packages and deliveries already, which is really cool. And now it's fully operational, fully autonomous on the roads. And to a lot of people, to be fair, it has left a lot of people with wondering, questions about how this would affect actual traffic. And it seems to be doing well. This only came about a week ago, so it's not like we have a ton of information on how it's doing now.
I mean, are they testing this Are they testing this? They're testing this on real highways, real roads.
Yeah,
real people around them.
Yeah,
I think ethically that's kind of questionable.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous. It's a truck.
Yeah, it's a semi truck that it's driving. It's a huge thing. So people are very worried about how this is going to affect typical road
Safety.
traffic and safety. It did pass the safety. There was like a whole like safety regulation. There's like a ton of them that they have to pass, and they did.
That's
So,
good, but like AI
it's-
regulation in the U.S. isn't exactly strong. Hey, can I put my coffee on your mouse pad?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's fine.
There's no coaster. She's a horrible host.
Okay, that's not, all right.
And that's not
But
even
yeah.
mentioning like the whole job thing.
What do you
know?
mean?
The-
Oh, like it
yeah, they're
removing
gonna
jobs.
replace- yeah.
Yeah, but from what it seems like though, this is like replacing like long road routes right now. So like the really extraneous, really not extraneous, but the super long routes that we have
Yeah.
right now. So
I mean, here's the ideal. This is the ideal scenario that is probably not going to happen unless we actually regulate AI, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Is that this will be more of an additive thing for truckers already working? You know,
I mean, yeah,
it's like they're
it's-
already like it's like dangerous to overwork truckers because they're like falling asleep on the road and stuff.
well, yeah.
So having
Having this-
auto driving,
Yeah,
good.
this could also be like a really good backup. Like if they need like drivers are out or they're,
Yeah.
I feel like this would give more potential like benefits to truck drivers
But what
because
I-
you can do it manually,
Yeah.
which for them would be a better safety wise. But they would be get additional benefits because they'd be able to take more days off because they have these good self-driving semis already on the road.
But if any other company is any indication of how they implement AI and like automation, they're just
Yeah.
gonna start firing people.
Well,
If
if
we're
this
being
gets
real
too
here, they're gonna fire people.
yeah, I mean if it gets like too good, then in that case it's a big potential.
So I don't even have to think about it being like too good, cause like
Well, this is the first like official commercial self-driving truck service.
but
like,
even
that's
if
on the roads
even if
now.
they do a bad job, like even if they like have accidents, I think they'll still do it because it's a cost cutting thing and it benefits their like stock and stuff. If we're talking like an executive level.
Okay, yeah. I mean, in that wise, yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Like
Which is obviously not a long term. It's not a long term good thing for their company or the society.
well, right.
But like short term profits, right?
Yeah. And also, on the podcast, if you haven't realized already, it's not like we have any degrees in, like, political science or anything like
No.
that. We're just two, dummies
Yeah.
talking about politics and giving our 2 cents on goofy news stories. So it's not like we have any, like, actual know-how on any of the stories that we realistically talk about. Just two nerds.
This was a bad news cycle to start the podcast on.
Yeah,
like not a
there's-
lot of goofy news.
There's not a lot. No, it's a
No.
lot of really serious, tension-y kind of stuff.
It's a lot of poli-sci stuff because we
Yeah.
have later we'll have a section on the big beautiful bill, and that's
right,
like,
and that's
not fun.
That's not fun.
I mean,
It's-
we'll make
it's
fun,
a lot
but
of
it's not that fun.
Well, yeah, it's tragic stuff. The fact that actually got passed, but we'll get into that. On a different one, actually
the house.
a higher note. New York crypto investor accused of kidnapping Italian tourist, which now
Not
that
just
I'm saying, it's
kidnapping,
not really
though. Not just kidnapping.
a-
Torturing.
torture. Yeah, yeah.
Which is an insane,
So,
headline.
Yeah, I guess that's not really a high note.
Why did you say high note? That's
I-
insane.
But I thought that this is like a
On
this
a
is-
lighter note,
Yeah.
this guy got kidnapped and tortured in New York. Hey, but he's a crypto bro.
He is a crypto bro. So essentially, we don't have a ton of information because this is rather recent. This
It's
only
off the
happened-
presses, guys.
Yeah, this only happened a couple days ago. So there's a 37-year-old crypto investor. He appeared in court for allegedly kidnapping and torturing an Italian tourist in Manhattan. There was also another person, who was a 24-year-old, which, for what it's worth, seems to be a big age discrepancy between the two of them. So it's very.
Wait, how old was the first guy?
First guy was 37 years old,
Okay.
and then the other was 24.
37, is that still Gen Z?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
No.
There's some old Gen Z out there. 27, I guess.
Yeah, it's,
So it seems that those two guys and also the Italian tourist, they were
Yeah.
all like business partners with their crypto.
I guess. Yeah,
I-
that's
no,
what
yeah.
was that what it was?
Because that's why he got kidnapped. Because they wanted his passcode for his
For his Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he
he was
wa-
yeah, they were stealing his Bitcoin.
They were stealing his Bitcoin. So
Yeah, it's very
Business partners-
it's very serious, but also like
it's very goofy.
It's
like
such a- it's
taking
such
it
a-
out of context. It's very silly. Like on paper, it's very
Yeah,
Like
I'm sure.
but like the Italian tourist definitely doesn't find it funny.
Yeah,
though.
he doesn't find it
No,
that
he
funny.
just, no.
It's bit of I don't know if this is a trendsetter for like the next like the future of cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
where it's
right.
like heading more and more into organized crime
Right,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. We're
Right,
gonna
right.
see like we're gonna see like day traders in like the bottom of like swimming pools and stuff. It's like
yeah. Like mob bosses, but they're just crypto bros.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like very not threatening.
Yeah.
By the way, okay, we want to clarify for those who do not know the story. If we're your only news outlet, get another news outlet.
That would probably that'd probably be good.
The guy who was kidnapped and tortured was not killed. He escaped.
He did actually escape. Yeah, he escaped.
Yeah.
From the home in Soho where he was tortured and he was bound there for weeks.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. Or
For 2
something.
weeks.
Yeah.
From what I know, I think it was 2 to 3 weeks
Mhm.
that he was there tied up in the house and tortured.
Yeah.
He also, according to the complaint obtained by by ABC News, which is where we're getting the information, the
This
victim
is
told police.
BBC.
Or well, it was off the BBC.
Oh,
but-
BBC quoted ABC.
Yeah, the BBC quoted ABC. But they said that another person, so the first guy and the second guy, both crypto investors, beat him and hanged him off a ledge when he refused to provide his Bitcoin password. So
Yeah.
I can probably inference that they're both Redditors. I mean, they're trying like the classic Batman like Joker thing where they're hanging him over a ledge.
Yeah, they definitely
Like-
saw that movie. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we got to do that.
we got our Italian business partner coming in. We're getting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is which was
It's-
crazy by the way for a Bitcoin password.
Oh my God, there's nothing more shows me that people that professionally trade cryptocurrency are psychopathic than this story.
Yeah. It was absolutely
Yeah.
insane.
No.
Um,
How much were they?
I don't know. The
For
Bitcoin that they were trying to
between-
get doesn't seem like they were.
They were doing this for 30,000 and 40,000 per month, according to.
That was the whole thing they were renting.
that they were making. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So these are this
Like
is
they
white
were-
collar crime. This is, yeah.
This
By the
is-
way, there's definitely an easier way to get his passcode. They're stupid as hell for doing this.
What do you mean easier way to get his password? It's
Okay, I wouldn't. If this is not my, not to assume I didn't know what was going through their minds or what they tried already, but like I wouldn't have tried
But,
torture
you know,
first.
I would have-
That's not my first go. If I'm trying to get someone's passcode for cryptocurrency, right? I'm not gonna try.
Allegedly.
I'm not torturing them first.
Yeah,
right? That's not my
hypothetically.
first go. I'm
If
gonna
you're
try
going
something
for-
else first.
like what? What?
I don't
Well,
know,
okay.
hacking or something.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, I don't want to torture the guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the difference between a
normal
full-hearted
person.
crypto bro and just like a regular person.
Yeah.
Is hacking into his Bitcoin account and
Yeah.
torturing it out of him for multiple weeks. And he also, it seemed like he never spoke. So this guy was determined.
Yeah, he really wanted to. I don't.
He really wanted this Bitcoin.
Honestly, every one of the stories is kind of crazy. It seems. If I met them in a room, I feel like they would be like
They would all
the
be
weirdest person I've ever met.
yeah,
Each individually would be, because like just
Right.
give it up, man.
and they have like 25,000 karma.
yeah, and like the two guys that did this, it might be more. The two people have turned themselves in. Well, one was arrested. One was arrested.
One was arrested, and the other turned
and
themselves.
the other turned themselves in.
Yeah.
I don't know why that guy turned himself in. We don't know why. He didn't say anything when he was arrested.
Nope,
Nope.
he just did, but
Don't know if this is going to turn into a show trial. I mean,
I
it's
don't
New
know.
York, so it's not like we
Who
need
knows?
more of that.
right. I
We
don't
already have two cooking right now.
in New York.
In
for
New
the-
York. Yeah, we
for-
have Luigi and Iggy right now.
Yeah, the big trials, big trials.
Real yin and yang situation.
Okay, I wouldn't say yin and no.
Legendary,
No.
evil and good.
Well, right, and you know what also is evil and good? Well, more probably evil.
Vin, stop prefacing it like that.
Okay.
There's no good guy here. It's not been a good news cycle. Oh, we didn't talk about the new AI generated video stuff.
What do you mean?
The slop stuff.
Well, yeah. There's just been, in summary, there's been a ton of new AI technology that's been coming out, and it has been able to make people. It has been able to make people and videos completely AI generated over top that video, so
Yeah.
making it look like a let's play essentially.
Yeah,
And-
it's very convincing. And
It's-
like
yeah.
you and I, we grew up on the internet. We can tell
right.
AI generated stuff.
Right, just off a glance.
Glance,
So
but
smart.
this was tough stuff.
It was.
It was
for
pretty
what it's
convincing.
worth.
The Fortnite one, oh my god.
That stuff was actually kind of nice.
The Fortnite one, I was like, okay, what are we? What, are you just watching a video?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
But like it has like a person overlaid over the top gameplay, and they're playing the game. It also seemed like it. I don't know if it was taking gameplay from videos and putting it in, or it was AI generating gameplay.
I think it was. I think what they did was they trained their software off of like the millions of hours of Fortnite playthrough footage that they put in there, and then they just generate off of that.
It might be that, yeah.
And there's some incongruities, you know. There's some like the pickaxe. Yeah, the pickaxe looks weird, but like it's not like how it used to be with the videos where it's like.
Oh yeah, where it's like LeBron James eating spaghetti and his like whole face is like being distorted.
Yeah, and their jaw falls off. No, it's like pretty. I think we're seeing a new generation. We're seeing a new innovation in SlopTube. You know?
SlopTube.
Yeah, there's gonna be. It's already been pretty bad, but it's gonna get even worse.
Yeah.
And then bots are gonna eat up the SlopTube.
Right.
And then the SlopTube is gonna be made by a fully AI. There's not the person's gonna step away.
And then the bots are gonna be making the AI generated, and then the bots are gonna be uploading it.
Yeah.
So then we're just gonna be in a society.
Dead internet. Yeah.
Right. Dead internet. This is just turning into dead internet.
And you thought it was silly, but no.
Nope. I thought it was dumb. But I guess
it's
not.
real.
But something else that's also pretty dumb is French President Macron denies being slapped by his wife in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty cool. But in the video, he definitely gets slapped.
Yeah.
Like
when the story just first came out, they said they pushed his face in. But clearly she was going for a slap.
She was going for honestly, it looked like something like it looked like a finisher out of like a Mortal Kombat of where she went for like the jaw and then she like it was like an MMA fighter like finisher move where she like slam him into like the
maybe she was going for his nosebreaker.
Yeah, right. Maybe like get his nose or something like that. It was very compelling, but I guess he denies it. And in a quote, he said, "You can make a video say a lot of stupid things. For the past 3 weeks, there are people who watch videos and think that I shared a bag of cocaine, and I went head to head with a Turkish president, and now I'm having a fight with my wife." He said, "None of this is true, yet all 3 videos are real."
Okay, so here's the thing. I know about those 2 other things.
You know about?
I know about the Turkish. By the
Turkish
way,
one?
Turkish president, he's a dictator. And the cocaine thing. The cocaine thing's not real.
That one wasn't real?
So
I wanted to see that video.
None of these things are AI. Just because I know the context of how we've been talking about this, you might assume, oh, these are AI videos. These are all real videos. So the cocaine thing is in a press conference. He had a gross napkin on the table that he wanted to hide from the cameras. So people were like, oh, he had cocaine on that napkin. That's not real. He just wanted to hide the napkin. Okay. So the French president, Emmanuel Macron, wasn't doing cocaine in front of the press. He might still be doing cocaine behind the press. Okay. You don't know.
Right.
And
still might be snorting lines.
And there's the press were filming Macron and the Turkish president in a conference. They were talking, right?
Okay.
And Macron was putting his hand on the Turkish president's knee or something.
Okay.
And as a power move, the Turkish president grabbed his pinky, I think.
What?
And so they were just standing there because what are you supposed to do as a world leader? You can't push the other guy away, right?
Huh?
Like this guy's a dictator. You're in his country. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So that was just sort of a weird moment. So
as a power move, he grabbed
his wife
pinky?
definitely slapped him. His wife definitely pushed him in the face.
That one definitely, that one definitely happened.
That one's real. And do you want to talk about the context around their relationship? Because that's sort of the bigger story.
Yeah,
I think.
You think that's a bigger story?
I think it makes it worse.
The really funny video of him getting slapped. It was pretty.
No.
goofy.
I mean the context for the relationship.
I know that's not like. Okay.
That's not funny. Let's be honest. Okay, we're gonna switch gears from dumbass to deadass. This part of the story is not funny. So French President Emmanuel Macron, I think might be the first world leader to ever get groomed. Yeah. So he met his wife in high school. Not like high school sweethearts. She was his teacher, and he was 15. This is a very French story because there's pedophilia in it.
Right.
Yeah. So he was 15 when he met his wife, who is, I think, 30, 40 when they met. So that's bad. Which kind of makes this whole story seem worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's not funny.
It's not funny. No,
that's not funny.
That's not funny. Really.
But if you didn't know that, just a little not fun fact.
Wow. Well, thanks for bringing the podcast down. Oh my God. Well,
I'm not gonna lie to him. What? I'm not. What? Don't call me a wet blanket.
Okay. Well, to be fair, we're also going down because we're talking about Trump now. So, however, good news: U.S. federal court blocks Trump from imposing sweeping tariffs. So, in a latest New York court case, the ruling of a 3-judge panel at the New York-based Court of International Trade came after several lawsuits argued Trump had exceeded his authority. So, essentially stating that it is ineffective and he has no right to do this. So, therefore, please don't do these tariffs. Pretty much.
The Harvard story isn't done though. They're still going back and forth. That's gonna stay in the news cycle for a while.
Yeah, this one's probably gonna be going on. A lot of the court cases that are gonna be going on right now are gonna be going on for ever, pretty much.
Until like, I don't know. Until like the end of his presidency, 'cause, like
a lot of the stuff is just gonna keep going on. Like
yeah, because he's just gonna find a new
loophole or like way to get out of it. I guess. I mean, like because like all of these court cases are like good, but like nobody cares, which is like
it's all kind of like not to be a doomer. I know the last story might make me seem like a doomer.
Yeah.
But like I don't because it's all kind of like in the back of your head you have to think, is the Supreme Court actually going to hold Trump accountable at the like if this goes to their level, is that going to actually be? You have a coaster?
I do have a coaster. I forgot. I have
you
a
don't have two coasters?
Fine. No, I don't have two. Here, you want to use your there?
I just got a coaster. So is the question is for any of these court cases, if it goes to the Supreme Court level, are they actually going to hold him accountable? And
probably not.
Probably not. Like
no.
Nothing. Like all the like the victories in quotes that we've had for like against Trump is like sort of like very.
It's like wow. It's
like
that happened. Yeah. But nothing happened.
Yeah, they're like, they kind of like chickened out on it. Like they said like instead of using strong words to say they have to return Brago Garcia, they use light terms so that he can like get chicken out of it, like he can get out of it. Or in like Chuck Schumer's way, we wrote a very strongly worded letter. Yeah. That was good. I think that was really good. So that'll really sway the vote. So hopefully it doesn't go to the Supreme Court level because they're not going to actually hold him accountable. No, but he's also already filed for appeal, so it probably is already going to go to that Supreme Court level and then just get overturned. You know what? Not overturned, but in lighter news, I saw a Onion article, like a headline for it. It said, "Country shocked that they're on Harvard's side." Country shocked. Yeah. No one's ever on Harvard's side except for this one specific occasion. Right. It's real. Harvard is filled with the dumbest people in the country. Yeah. It is the most elitist institution that you could possibly think of, and this is the one occasion that people would be on their side. Right. Of course. Yeah. Like it's the one place. It's like one of our like biggest highest showing stones, and I guess the headlines just showing that no, we don't care about Harvard. Yeah. The only other time that I'm pro Harvard, I guess, is like when they do like cancer research and stuff. Which they do good work, right? Yeah, it's Harvard. Yeah, they do good work, but also they produce so many bad people, dude. What do you mean? Like the give worst. Me an example. Okay. Like some of the worst people that have been in like the State Department have come from Harvard. Okay, you know, Senate. It's just the Senate. Well, Senate's like a whole other thing. Well, it's not. It's just filled up with. And they keep dying. Yeah. Everyone in the Senate just keeps dying as well. You want to talk about that? That's another story. Everyone in the Senate, or everyone in general, just keeps dying. So a ton of Democrats and Republicans, as of recent, I think it's like like 20 people now. Yeah, and 8 Democrats just this year have died. Yeah, and that's the Senate. That Congress or just the Senate? Because the Senate is way older. The Senate is way older. Yeah, that's filled up with actual. So on one hand, it's sort of exciting because this you would hope like new generation of Democrats and I guess a new generation of Republicans. But I don't care. Like a new generation of Democrats coming in, that could be good. A more progressive wing to fill that space. Yeah, as long as it's with people that like aren't going to chicken out like what we are right now. I just like I said, if we just have like if we have just 8 new like younger Chuck Schumers, that's not gonna do. That's not gonna do anything. Yeah, they're all gonna write 8 really strongly worded letters, and that's not gonna do anything. Yeah. Except now they're gonna be brain rotted. Yeah. They're just gonna be like in the letter. It's gonna be like skibbity Riz. Yeah, it's not like whatever. It's not even a presentation thing. Like it's not a presentation thing where it's like, oh, they're not as old, so that's better. It's a policy thing because if they don't change their policy and they don't actually like fight back then it's not. There's nothing. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So
like,
hopefully
something actually comes from it, because we really need change in the Democratic Party, because oh my god, dude, we've actually done nothing so far. We're almost 6 months in, and literally nothing has gotten done except everything other than Bernie Sanders and AOC, which they're doing their Fight Oligarchy tour. For like what feels like ever now, like the entire Trump presidency so far. Other than that, and the Cory Booker like 25-hour, or it was like longer than that, or yeah.
I don't see Cory Booker as a very viable future for the Democratic Party.
No, I'm not saying that. Well, I think he's a really good guy. I think he's like.
I'm sure if I met him, he'd be nice.
Okay,
to me.
yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah, of course.
I'm sure he'd dab me up. I don't think has that that like he doesn't have that he doesn't have that good of a policy position. Like what is the thing that he fights for most? You know, like what does he like?
I guess
run on.
But I mean, I guess
can't place him down.
Okay, to be fair, we have to put him. It's a low bar for Democrats right now, and at least he's done something. So,
but what he did was the longest filibuster for something that wasn't technically a filibuster because there was no bill. He just talked for that long.
Well, he essentially stopped the bill from like getting voted on.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just do? Okay, see this is okay. One part I blame Chuck Schumer because he's the reason why it's harder to fight the bill, the budget bill that we're gonna get to in a second, the budget bill in the first place with his resolution, wow. and I just if you're going to actually if you're gonna actually do a filibuster for that long for like 4 hours or whatever, I don't remember how long it was, but it was long. Could you do it like in a more directly like fighting way? Because like when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's cool. Democrats are fighting. But then I read what like when I read the headline, I'm like, oh, he's not actually doing this for a specific bill, you know? And I think a lot of other people saw that and they're like, okay. And they sort of passed it by. Like, he's more popular now than before he did that.
Well, right, because...
Yeah. But he would be even more popular if he had done that in a way that actually had a tangible, like, effect.
I mean, it did. It stopped the bill from doing that, and everyone just kind of, like... And because everyone in the House is also, like, 80 years old, they just went and napped at 8 o'clock. Yeah,
but it's not an actual filibuster. Like, he just talked for that long.
I mean, yeah, but, like, it's not like a filibuster can also, like, that would, like, a filibuster during the meeting for the bill would also, like, inhibit it in any way from getting passed. It would maybe be tabled for later discussion.
Well, the way that a filibuster is supposed to work is that it's supposed to make sure that, like, because none of these people live in D.C., mind you. They have to go home eventually. So they're just timing it out until people leave, or that people move to the other side just for it to be done. But the way that he did it was less effective because it wasn't an actual filibuster. Can we look this up? I don't want to just talk out of my ass.
What do you mean?
What bill was he doing? Was he like... Because this was a while ago. This was like 2 months ago. Actually, probably longer than that.
Record-breaking speech.
It was 24 hours.
He spoke for 24 hours and 18 minutes. Oh no, that was Senator Strom Thurmond. That was Thurmond. What's his? Well, it's pretty the Senate floor occupied for more than 24 hours. It does not qualify as a filibuster. So it's not a filibuster, technically.
So what was he doing it for, though? Like what prompted this?
He was critiquing Trump's policies. Oh wait, okay. So it was a critique of Trump's policies rather than an attempt to block a specific vote. Okay, so I had it wrong.
So he was just yapping for, 25 hours?
Yeah. The longest, yeah. Yeah. So he just spoke a ton on, like, how terrible Democratic stuff has been going recently. Which, I guess is fine.
Which is it's good on one hand because it gets him in the news, and that's important. Yeah. Right? Because it presents the Democrats as fighting. But all it does is present them as fighting. It doesn't actually fight him. Because none of the Republicans actually had to stay in D.C. for him to finish that, to vote on a bill. Yeah. They could have left because there's no bill on the table. He's just talking. Yeah. So the only people that stayed were, I guess the speaker who had to be there, or, a speaker who was appointed by the speaker. Someone who was there just to oversee. Yeah. And then Democrats who wanted to watch Cory. And that's it. And that's not... I think it would have been more lasting, and it would have propelled him more politically, if we're talking, more cynically from his, career perspective. It would have been better for him if he had actually waited to do a filibuster, now. If he did a filibuster now on the resolution where he like forced like really old people in the Senate.
Yeah.
Which would the filibuster would be very effective on them because they're dying. Like, the chances of them dying in the middle of a 24-hour filibuster is actually pretty high.
Yeah.
So for him to do
they
it
died
now-
of frustration.
Yeah.
Died of boredom.
What were we
Yeah.
talking about? We were talking about. we were talking about Harvard or something.
Well, that's well, we can talk about that real quick. So, recently, Harvard, U.S. is signaling. Well, okay. U.S. was going after Harvard because they were having right now our current administration is really going against the whole immigration and people coming into our country thing because we're having a whole crisis about that for like no reason. Which is really dumb. So they were going after Harvard because they have a big international community.
Yeah, it's a quarter.
It's a quarter. So, but yeah, and Harvard fought against that pretty harshly, and they wanted to do. I think they did a countersuit because they were threatening to get rid of federal funding for them because
it was like I think he did. It was either an executive order or it was just something that the Secretary of Homeland Security said, just like tweeted or something that they were shutting down. They were preventing the international program for Harvard. And then Harvard was like, no. And then a judge was like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, in the same day.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was really dumb. So, Harvard argues that Trump administration is retaliating against it for refusing to cede to its demands to control the school's governance, curriculum, and the ideology of its faculty and students. And then my girl, Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, revoked the school's SEVP certification, which essentially allows international immigrants to come into the country. Which
they're just like visa holders or something. They're here on like a student visa. That's it.
But she revoked their certification, so international students can't go to Harvard.
Except now they still can because the judge blocked it.
Well, also, I don't think Harvard cares at this moment. I think they're just kind of going against it. And then Noem, also, without providing any evidence, accused the university of fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Which...
Well, that's not true. Shout out to my favorite dog killer, Kristi Noem.
Yeah, of course. Which is just the stupidest remark ever. Or coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Actual just... tomfoolery out of thin air. I don't know where she's getting any of this.
And Trump's saying that Harvard is teaching remedial math. And he's like, why are these people in here?
Why are these super dumb, immigrants here? They should be.
And you might think that's a complete lie, but it's actually true. Harvard is teaching remedial math, and everyone in that class, they're anti-Semitic communists. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Of course.
Only facts. I'm being dead ass.
Okay.
And then you roll credits.
It's the stupidest thing. Also, it's the stupidest thing ever. I don't know why they're even trying this.
Yeah.
It's
I think
this is like one of their biggest. This is like their biggest Ivy League school, and they're going against it for.
I think it's personal for Trump.
Because he didn't get accepted. Yeah, I guess that's like the only reason.
He has an economics degree He has an economics degree
from Oh my god, I remember the university, but it's like a prestigious university.
Yeah, he went to a good university because his dad was rich. He's a fail son. I guess not a fail son anymore because he's president.
For the second time, by the way, for some reason. He also Trump told reporters in the Oval Office on Wednesday that Harvard University should have a 15% cap on the number of non-U.S. students it admits. Harvard has got to behave themselves, he said.
I think that's the route of attack that they're going to try and go. Here, you can have your coaster, I'm done.
Okay.
That's the route of attack I think they're going to do to, justify this. I don't think it's working right now, but there is, I'll address it. There is, a reactionary sense that Americans should have where it's this is our top university. This is a top American university, and a quarter of the people that go there are not American, that. I could see how that could upset people where it's
but why? It's just I don't know.
That thought is xenophobic inherently, but it's something that a lot of people could fall prone to. But here's the fact. Those people those non-U.S. citizens that go to Harvard, that 25%, that quarter, they kind of pay for U.S. citizens to go to Harvard. Like, they pay more money than U.S. citizens pay to go to Harvard.
Yeah. Like,
and
they have a lot.
They subsidize housing and stuff. So it's not like a lose situation for us. We're getting something out of it.
Right,
it's like a benefit to us for them to come here.
But like we just hate them, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
And I think he's, instead of like actually addressing where that resentment might come from, for like the people that would be like, I don't like these Chinese going to Harvard, right? What you would actually do to address that is make colleges cheap to go to. You would subsidize people going to universities and stuff, right? Because the people that like will complain, like if you go to like a Trump rally and you ask, why are you mad at Harvard? I'm gonna say, because I don't like foreigners going to Harvard or whatever. Probably they won't use foreigners. They'll probably like use a slur or something. But, like,
yeah, that's typically how they refer to them.
But they'll say that, and they'll be mad because they can't, like, their kid or they couldn't afford to go to college or university, and that's messed up, and that's real, right?
Well, yeah.
So that's where the resentment comes from.
But
that's not what this is doing. That doesn't address this.
Yeah, and that's like a whole other issue of how expensive college is to go to in the first place. It's really terrible, but that's a different issue that is obviously being addressed by.
Yeah, this will make it worse actually, because this will make, if he makes it 15% instead of the 25 now, it'll make it more expensive to go to Harvard, right? For the Americans, it will make it more expensive straight up.
Because the foreigners are paying more money to go.
Because they won't be going anymore.
Yeah.
And also it also got the research institutions of Harvard. And, no more cancer research is a bad thing.
Well, yeah.
I think that's a 2080 issue,
Yeah, cutting all cancer research. Which was, I think that was already done, right? Where he cut a ton of cancer research from like a couple universities.
Yeah, I think that was that a Doge thing or is that...
I don't think that was it a Doge thing? It may have been. And speaking of Doge, Elon Musk announces exit from U.S. government role after breaking with Trump on tax bill. So, yeah, Elon Musk is gone. The Wonder Kid is gone. He's, well, kind of. He's
been gone for a while.
I mean, yeah. The fact I haven't heard about him in, like, the past, like, month of news is pretty crazy. So, that's very cool. But, I think his like, specialty guest thing or something like that had been expired. Mandate as a special government employee in the Trump administration was set to expire May 30th. So,
which is tomorrow.
So he also definitely wanted to leave. It seemed like he wanted to leave anyways.
I think. Okay, so Elon's breaking with the big beautiful bill with Trump is over the deficit.
Is it over the deficit?
Yeah, he says that that this bill will create a bigger deficit, and it will. By the way, it will deepen the deficit.
Yeah, because we're also increasing the deficit, the amount the deficit can go.
It's going to increase. What this bill does, it increases spending on the defense with the Golden Dome.
Yeah,
and it'll also increase. It'll also decrease the federal income by cutting taxes of the wealthiest.
Yeah,
and so that'll make a bigger deficit, which every Republican president has done. Yeah. From Reagan to now, they've been increasing the deficit.
Yeah.
Like the Democratic presidents are the only ones where the deficit hasn't increased over.
Yeah. So, woo, yay, amazing.
Yeah,
finally.
I don't think he actually cares about the deficit though.
Well,
because why would he care? To be fair, he's stupid. He is really stupid.
He made Doge.
So maybe he really does care about the deficit. As opposed to that just being a vacuum or an excuse to cut welfare and stuff, which I thought Doge was, or he actually cares about the deficit.
Doge was infiltrating on like a lot of the tax cut bills that were already being instituted into the bills, to cut Medicaid and Medicare and all that.
Which they weren't really that good at, to be fair. Well, they fired a bunch of people.
They fired a ton of people, and then they hired them back because we kind of need
that bureaucracy is kind of important. Yeah. Use Doge as a bit of a scapegoat for their policy stuff of firing people.
Also, pretty much every single time that anything happened with President Trump, it would just go into Doge. Yeah. He would just be,
He said Doge is doing great work, and everyone's like, bro, kill Elon. And that's Trump supporters saying that.
Yeah, and let's go burn down Tesla facilities.
And then he was getting excluded once he showed himself to be like toxic politically.
Well,
like he goes to a battleground state where there's like a senatorial race, and then he's like, I'm supporting the Republican, and then everyone votes for the Democrat because they hate him personally.
Yeah.
So everyone's spiting him.
So yeah, he was like actually like, he was like a curse.
So he got like a little excluded from the White House after that, and then Tesla stock dropped. And so he sort of just left after that. Yeah. And then this is more of an official thing.
I guess so.
130 days more of an excuse to get rid of him. I think.
Yeah, I think.
And he's just mad at Trump, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he was planning on leaving anyways, like regardless, especially like coming into May, of where like a ton of stuff was happening, and he just like had no take in it, and Doge was just getting blasted pretty much every time anything happened.
Was this in my 2025 predictions? The breakup? I think it was.
I don't know.
Huh.
We'll have to go back to that.
We'll check that out.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
But going back a little bit, so onto more grisly news. A former Harvard morgue manager pleaded guilty to trafficking body parts from donated cadavers at Harvard.
Believe it or not, this is actually one of the more lighthearted stories we have.
Yeah.
Because no one died. Well, no one was murdered.
Well, okay,
people did die, but no one was murdered.
But essentially what happened, a former manager of the Harvard Medical School morgue pleaded guilty to stealing body parts from cadavers that were donated to the Boston institution and then sold them. Crazy.
So was this guy Chinese by chance?
Okay.
I'm just wondering.
Right.
He wasn't Chinese, by the way. He wasn't a Chinese visa student.
It was him and his wife, and they were just selling them. So, I don't know.
What was he selling?
He sold heads, arms, skin, faces, and other body parts, and just I don't know where he was selling it.
Well, there's got to be a market.
There's got to be a market.
How much money do you think he made from this?
I think he made a ton of money. So, from what it seems like, he's facing a maximum sentence of 10 years and a fine of $250,000.
So that's
which
the fine.
Seems fine. Yeah, I also could see him getting lawsuits from the people that donated that, and then
the families. You mean not the people?
No,
because those people are dead.
Well, yeah, the bones would probably be rolling around right now, seeing that he's donating them.
I would say they're probably rolling in their grave, but they're not in their grave
because he's selling them, right? Yeah. Well, Rick Scott's probably using them. He's like the actual.
He's probably
Voldemort.
Buying them.
He's like the living Voldemort. So, yeah, he is.
I wish his voice sounded like that though.
What, like Voldemort?
His Rick Scott's voice is too normal. It's too normal politician-y.
Well,
I wish he sounded like, yes, you know?
Right. Like some like Dr. Evil stuff. I think that was going on from 2020 to 2023. No, 2018 to 2020.
Yeah.
So he was doing this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And he was making a good market, I guess.
And then I guess he stopped.
And
because of
I
COVID.
guess.
I'm assuming he stopped because of COVID, right?
Oh, right. There was too many restrictions on him selling body parts.
I mean, it's a little more suspicious when you're the only one driving in a morgue truck.
Yeah.
More likely to get pulled over. Like, how do you explain that to the officer?
Yeah. Oh, what's in the back here? Oh, just
faces. Okay, who's buying faces?
I don't know.
Also, like that's insane.
That's like actual like leather face kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's like. Oh my god, who's buying faces?
I don't know who's buying this kind of stuff.
Like he's literally selling heads, shoulders, knees, and toes. It's like who's buying them?
I don't know who is buying this. It's actually crazy. I don't know.
And he made bank. He made a lot of money.
From what it seems like, I mean, he was doing it for a while.
To get fined that much, yeah, he had to be making a lot.
Well, I think that was just like, yeah. I feel like they should have fined him for like $1 million for how long he was doing this for and how many body parts he probably was selling. He was probably making millions.
Would it make it better or worse if you think he didn't make a profit? He did this for 2 years and then he realized there's no money in selling corpses, I guess.
Yeah, and
that's why he stopped. It wasn't because of COVID. It's because he was in the black. He was in the red.
He was in the right market. Yeah. Yeah, Rick Scott started like he wasn't buying it anymore. So
does this have anything to do with him being former Harvard? Or is it just like completely separate? Like he wasn't doing this when he worked for Harvard.
Well, he was in Harvard and he was getting the body parts that they were using in their medical school from Harvard.
Oh.
Yeah, they were getting it from. Okay. He was getting it from Harvard and then he was selling stuff. All right.
Harvard. Do you think that's why he stopped in 2020 and got fired?
I don't know.
Didn't do that much research for this one.
No, I found it. I thought it was like, wow, that is a crazy story.
It's weird though. He stopped in 2020, but this article only came out like on the 22nd of this month. So did he get arrested recently for this, or?
I don't know. I have no idea.
They finally tracked him down after 5 years.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But there's not like a ton of news. There's not a ton of news on this. It came out like
it's a short article.
Okay, so recently Trump has been making some crazy statements about Putin after the war that's still currently going on with Russia and Ukraine. Trump is saying some stuff to his Pookie Bear, his best friend, Vladimir Putin. After some criticism, he said, called the Russian leader crazy following the airstrike in Kyiv, which, that far be it for me to say, any more than crazy after an airstrike on our ally.
Saying, what happened to Putin? My little Pookie Bear, he changed. I don't know what happened to him. He's not listening to me.
He's not answering my phone calls.
This is a massive betrayal. I wouldn't expect this from a war criminal. I thought we knew each other. I didn't know we were like this.
Yeah, so, which is really
taking
awesome.
It very personally.
Yeah. Yeah, seems really betrayed. Yeah. He also posted on Truth Social saying that what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Yeah, with those nukes.
You know what? That's not that. I don't think that's very conciliatory to like. That's not very comforting to the Ukrainian people.
No, I don't think so. It's like, if I was doing more, I'd be helping Ukraine. But I'm not.
If Biden was president, still, it would have been way worse than it is right now.
Yeah, it would have been way worse.
That's what his argument is.
Because Biden would be funding. He would still be funding Ukraine, but he's not.
He's still. I think isn't he still funding Ukraine?
I think he's doing less than what he was. I haven't actually seen an update on that.
Yeah, because he hasn't taken away the sanctions from Russia either.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
So,
his foreign policy is a mess.
No
one really gets it.
I don't. Yeah, it's all over the place right now.
And we thought Marco Rubio was going to be the same part of the administration.
Right. Marco Rubio is just like,
dude. He won. He got like 100% votes for his confirmation for the Secretary of State. We should. No Democrat should have voted for him. No Democrat should have voted for him.
Well, right. I don't think anyone should have voted for Marco Rubio.
Or anyone in his admin, actually.
Huh? No.
Yeah, because there's no straight man in the admin.
Yeah, Marco Rubio, he just, signs papers and just, sits quietly in the corner. And just gets, kicked around, in the Trump administration. He's not doing anything.
He's arguing with, Elon, but that's not a problem anymore. I guess he won.
Yeah, I guess they were, arguing over crypto and... Yeah,
he's clearly not doing a good job.
Well, no, honestly.
And I think... You can blame Trump because obviously yelling at Zelensky was a bad idea.
Well, yeah.
But also, clearly he's not doing a good job.
Well, yeah, the chief head, Trump, isn't exactly doing anything. And Marco Rubio, foreign ambassador person for the United States right now, is also not doing anything either. So it's just a mess. It's gotten to a point of where Trump, all the information we're getting is through Truth Social, where Trump is posting stuff on his platform. Where he's just posting stuff on his platform, that's where we're getting our news.
and we're giving more slack, or at least I give more slack to the Trump admin with ending the war in Ukraine, right? Because at least the aggressor in that one is Russia, where it's the U.S. doesn't control their weapon supply.
But if we should be funding more into Ukraine, which is literally our democratic ally.
Well, democratic. The reason why I think you should support Ukraine is just because they were invaded illegally, right?
And they're also Russia started using war crimes against them in general.
If Trump wanted to end switching over to Gaza, if Trump wanted to stop, if he wanted a ceasefire in Gaza, he could have that by today. He could just say, I'm not sending more weapons to Israel. Because the U.S. is the only supplier of weapons to Israel.
Is it right now?
It is. It's always been. Okay. Israel functions as an extension of the U.S. geopolitical power skill.
Mm-hmm. I haven't really caught up on the whole Israel versus Gaza. I'm not.
I mean,
busy.
It's not looking good.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's ever looked good.
But both Biden and Trump, they could have ended this day one of the presidency. If they wanted to, they could have curtailed Israel's ability to to annex Gaza with the weapon supply, because that's all U.S. weapons. That's all U.S. taxes.
Yeah.
So that's it's significantly easier to end the war in Gaza than it is the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So it's his foreign policy is so bad.
It's just kind of a disaster right now.
Don't know if you would say it's worse than Biden's, but like functionally, like if we're talking about outcome, it's the same outcome.
Well, yeah, I think both are just like everything in the past like 8 years have just been actually just like nutty. Like it's been like crazy, like for like no reason though.
And all this is bad from like if we're talking about like cynically like from a NATO power and like from U.S. influence on the world, it makes us look really bad.
Yeah, well, yeah,
especially Gaza.
Well, yeah, that part. I feel
evil.
like either way you look at it, we're the bad ones in this situation. Pulling out or keep funding, like it's all bad.
Russia makes the U.S. look weak and like non-committal, and Gaza makes the U.S. look evil.
Yeah. Well, particularly in the Russia one, Trump is just like in love with Putin and he's just like sending love letters.
I don't know. Maybe he's breaking up.
He could be. He said what already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad. Lots of really bad things could start happening to Russia if I did anything.
If it was like, any other president, that would be a whole news cycle.
Of him saying that.
But
no, Trump is just friends with him.
Yeah, and Democrats are like. Remember when Democrats like in 2016 were like freaking out about how Trump talks?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the main news story, and that they weren't like addressing like what he was doing, but like how he talks. We're way past that point.
Now we're just accepting it. We're in like the acceptance phase now.
And I could care less, frankly, if the future of politicians is like they talk like Trump. Like I really don't care.
What?
Minus like any like the slurs or offensive stuff, but like if they just talk casually like him, I could care less. That's fine.
Well, okay. The way that Trump is talking, like his rhetoric, it makes it seem he always puts a bad guy and then he always puts an ally, and it's always himself. He is the bad. He is always the good.
And the bad guy is never actually the bad guy.
No,
the bad guy is him.
Yeah,
the bad guy's always him.
It's him versus himself.
Yeah, it's him and his friends.
But well, yeah. I mean, at the back of his inauguration, it was literally the 3 richest people in the world.
Yeah. The CEO of Google. It was everyone.
It was everyone. It was the whole crew.
I like to call him my hit list.
Okay. And then more on Trump.
Yeah.
He his big beautiful spending bill, which is the big tax cut bill, which recently got past the House.
It's the budget bill for 2026.
Yeah, is looking really sad. It's looking really sad. Like we said, there's not like a ton of really good stuff that's happening recently in the news cycle. It's all really not great.
But there's a lot to this budget bill. It was they really like Christmas treed it here.
Well, yeah. So it's a budget bill that has like everything else attached to it. Yeah.
Is AI regulation or lack thereof. There's some deportation stuff that isn't funding deportation. There's that in there too, but it's actual deportation law in there.
Yeah, there's a deportation law with stating that they could I think it was like deport 1 million people per year.
Yeah. Which isn't a budget, by the way. That's not the budget.
No, well obviously not. Yeah. They just put that in there, just like slid that in there.
Hey, but it would have been way worse if Chuck Schumer hadn't conceded. You know? Yeah. It would have been way worse if Chuck actually fought the bill. Don't worry.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god, guys, Chuck Schumer's just
pin him with that Chuck Schumer rage bait. Got him fumbling.
Yeah. Chuck Schumer, get it. Woo.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the main thing here that I think is sort of egregious is the way this is affecting taxes.
Well, the main cut is the main thing is the tax cut. Yeah. So it's going to be giving a ton of the rich and then literally negatives.
It gives -5. I think it's -5%. Is it negative?
I saw it was between the lowest of the low, like lower 20% of people in the United States are going to be losing like a couple $100 on the tax cut.
So I'll just read the chart here. So this is the share of tax cuts for House Reconciliation Bill in 2026 in the U.S. This is the big beautiful bill. That's the actual name of it.
Yeah, for some reason they actually were able to name it that, which is so stupid, by the way.
Is that actually what it says on the paper?
Yeah, it's actually it's literally called the Big Beautiful Bill. I don't know how a formal bill is able to be named something like that.
I thought that was just a media thing.
No, that's actually what it's called.
So it's not on this chart, but I know it's on another one. So for the percentile lower than 20%, it is -5.
-5.
You get -5% in your tax cuts, which means Which actually means it's increasing taxes by 5%.
Yeah, you're going to be losing more money.
And this is compared to the tax cuts that Trump had in his first term. His first term that are sundowning before this at 2026.
Yeah.
Which is why he's doing these new tax cuts.
Yeah, and I think these tax cuts are going to go for about 10 years. I think that's what it was. So we have a really long time. So this better get shot down in the Senate, or else this is going to be terrible.
So the richest 20% of Americans, that's 153,500 and above. That's
920,000 and above, which is a millionaires essentially.
Yeah. So their tax cuts
are going to get sliced.
Their tax cuts are being cut by 68%. That's more than 50. And the richest 1% of that is getting cut by 22%. And the next 4% under that, also 22%. And the next 15% of the richest 15 percentile of Americans, that's getting cut by 24%. And that doesn't sound as bad when you compare it until you compare it to the fourth 20% of percentile. That's upper middle class for like
upper middle class.
That's getting cut by 16%, which is much less. Then the middle class, directly middle, is cutting by 10%, and then the second 20%, that's lower middle class. That's a lot of people. That's only getting cut by 5%.
Yeah, it's
a top heavy tax cut. So if anyone tries to convince you that this tax cut is actually going to benefit the lower to middle class, even the upper middle class, that's not true. It's just not going to benefit you that much.
No, and I saw some news sources trying to say that the middle class will be able to save I think it's $9,000 worth of groceries, which great, that's fantastic, but we also have a really large population, which is in the poorest 20%, in which you're getting $9,000 worth of groceries, and they're getting less money every year. It's incredible.
And this chart doesn't even take into consideration the austerity to welfare programs that they're doing to be able to afford these tax cuts, right? And even when they do that austerity, when they cut those welfare programs, the deficit is still going to go up.
Yeah.
But also, when you cut welfare programs, that materially makes the poorest 20% and even a lot of the middle class poor, because now Medicaid and Medicare isn't available to them.
Yeah, I saw some studies saying that it was a couple trillion in the deficit over 10 years. Which sound fantastic. Why not? We already have such an incredible deficit. Might as well add another couple trillion to it of some freaking stupid bill.
Yeah. I'm no deficit hawk.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fine if we're in national. It's fine if we have a national debt, as long as if we're spending on people as opposed to
tax cuts,
the Golden Dome. Tax cuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. The bill also Dylan said, it pretty much Christmas treat everything else into it. So that means increased funding for detention centers, for deportations. It ended a lot of Biden's green energy incentives for energy efficient cars, stuff that runs on electricity. All that's kind of being cut. The huge tax cuts that are already in the bill. Higher budget deficit. They also increased the debt ceiling again.
Yeah, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's such a bad bill, dude.
It really is.
And this is gonna have a political effect on Republicans and hopefully Democrats that also vote for this. Because I'm straight up, there's gonna be some Democrats that vote for this bill in the Senate.
I hope not, because we have a bad majority. It's I think it's 53 to
and they keep dying too.
40.
It has an effect when Democrats in the Senate die. It has an effect on our majority.
Yeah.
It increases the split.
Well, it got through the Senate because there was a Democrat, or there was a senator who was not a senator, but a House representative that was sleeping.
Republican or Democrat?
I have no idea. There was also someone who was impartial, so that was cool.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Great time to be a centrist, huh?
Yeah. Very cool.
Joe Manchin isn't even in the Senate anymore.
No, and
but there's a bunch of little Joe Manchins.
Yeah.
You might call them Joe Houses, if you will. Sorry, but the people in the Senate, this is the concerning thing. If it passes the House, that's bad, right? But the people in the Senate, they're the top. They're getting their taxes cut by 68%. That's the demographic that most benefits from these tax cuts. So they have a material interest in voting on this bill, like to confirm it. So that's concerning.
Yeah.
Hopefully they realize that if they do vote for this, the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare, especially for Rick Scott, just a reference to Rick Scott, that will get them primaried in their. That'll get them primaried in their
absolutely
in their states.
Definitely, I think for a lot of the for the majority of them, I think there's. I mean, it's gonna be like the same thing that happened in the what was it? It was 2018. Was it 2018 midterms, right?
I don't know.
Okay. The midterms for the first Trump presidency was the biggest flip from Republican to Democrat majority ever.
Yeah, because Trump wasn't. We might like not remember, but Trump wasn't actually that popular of a president. You know. Like,
yeah, he wasn't very popular back then. He was the lowest rated, and then he somehow, in the beginning of his term, for this presidency, is now the worst.
Somehow, he's everything he's been doing.
Yeah, he topped himself in lowest likability for opening term.
I really wish they didn't name this thing the Big Beautiful Bill. It makes it so hard to talk about.
Yeah, it's really dumb. But they also slid in the fact that something that Trump has also been preaching a ton about: no tax on tips. No tax on overtime, and no tax on car loan interest. So that's, be saving, middle class families a ton of money while also, decreasing the amount that the government is going to be getting money into, and therefore being able to cut more stuff so we can get money.
That waiter that gets no tax on that tips now can't afford health insurance because they don't have Medicaid anymore.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Fantastic. So all of the poorest 20% people... you leave like your $1 tip. You have no tax now. There's no tax on that.
Yeah. And for the record,
but you have no welfare.
For the record, the tax for Medicaid will increase because more people are going to go to the ER. A lot more people are going to end up going to ER when they don't have Medicaid and Medicare for that matter, which is going to increase taxes for the average person. Yeah. But this is all shifting the burden of the federal budget to the poorest people, right? And away from the richest. And we've kind of been doing that for decades, but this is really quite an audacious move.
To say the least. So that really sucks. It really sucks. Yeah, it's going to add a ton to the deficit. Sources saying like 3.8 trillion to the already 36 trillion in debt over the next decade. Yeah. So it's just an overall terrible bill to be trying to get passed.
This is off of the first Trump presidency, which also increased the deficit by a lot. He's really outdoing himself.
He really is. Yeah, first Trump term is mellow compared to the Trump term they have now.
Yeah. Still isn't good, but still, I guess it's better.
Which is fantastic.
Guess it was.
You know what? Another project that would also probably increase the deficit? His Golden Dome project that he is so amped up about, which essentially it's just what I thought he brought inspiration about, like, if we have Marvel fans with like Wakanda, in which they have like that huge barrier around it. I thought that's literally what he wanted to do. So he wanted to have like a force field.
And that's not what he's referencing. He's referencing the Iron Dome that Israel has.
But
yes, I know. So stupid.
But the whole thing is dumb. But essentially, it's supposed to intercept missiles that come into United States territory. But this dome would also be all of North America, because it would also be including Canada as well.
We're protecting Mexico? That seems out of character.
Yeah, we're not protecting Mexico. Sorry, not Mexico.
And Canada, that also seems out of character.
Yeah,
in fact, that image of the Golden Dome actually doesn't have Canada in it.
It doesn't have Canada.
It's just Mexico and then America, and then there's nothing above America.
Yeah, but Canada has said if they did want to do this, if they were actually go through with this, they would be interested in being involved in the Golden Dome project.
That's pissing me off.
Yeah,
thanks Canada. Don't help him here.
Don't incentivize such a terrible project.
So there's more defense spending in that the big beautiful bill for this, I believe. Yeah, because there's more, because it's both gonna cut tax, but it's also gonna increase spending, defense spending in the new budget bill. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's gonna be paid for by that big beautiful bill,
by all the tax cuts that are going to be happening, and like the tax cuts that, or the tax cuts that are going to follow, but cuts just to like the overall federal government to get that money.
This whole project, which by the way, I don't know if it's clear. I hope this doesn't happen.
What, right? The Golden Dome?
Yeah. But like, what's gonna end up happening is this is one part's inspiration from Reagan's Star Wars program that he did in the 80s, which some might say bankrupt the USSR, but I don't think that's fully accurate. it kind of bankrupted them, but not really. But Trump's doing this for no reason.
Yeah,
so there's not even that defense. Like,
yeah.
there's no USSR that he's trying to bankrupt with the Golden Dome.
Like,
and then it's...
I don't know. But, yeah, it would be, like, a ton of money to put into this project.
Yeah. And a lot of the money is going to end up going to military contractors.
Yeah.
It's not actually... Like, just like Star Wars, there's not actually going to be any, like, material benefit. There's not going to be, like, a new weapon that comes out from this. It's just going to be money that the federal government wasted giving to, like, Boeing. Not Boeing. Like, military contractors. That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. But, if the Golden Dome isn't apparent of what it is, essentially it's just an EMP system or an electromagnetic pulse that just shocks the nukes and kind of, I think it explodes them in air from rendering them useless.
By the way, the U.S. has anti-aircraft systems
Yeah, we already
continentally.
have.
Like, it's not like...
We don't.
It's not like we haven't been protected. One, we're an island, essentially.
Kind of.
Yeah, we're essentially... Cause we're surrounded by allies, and we've never actually had a ground invasion for, like... We haven't had a ground invasion for, like, 200 years, right?
Forever.
Yeah, forever. And, like... And also, we have an anti-aircraft system. We can shoot down nukes already. The Golden Dome is just a rebranding of it. And also more spending.
And also more spending. Yeah, it's just going to increase spending on something that we just do not need.
And all that could have gone to Medicare and Medicaid.
Well, yeah, but...
And Social Security. Or the deficit. I wouldn't like if it all went to the deficit, because I really don't care. But, like, at least... At least that would have been better than this.
I like that standard that we've gone to right now. Oh, I would have liked, all of these much better things, but, like, realistically, I don't care. Like,
whatever.
It's all gone downhill. So it's...
Yeah. It's not like it's my money.
No.
Wait a second.
No.
It is.
Well, it's not your money because you don't have to pay...
It's going to be my money.
Well, you don't have to pay tax on tips. So...
You don't have to pay tax on tips.
I don't have to pay tax on tips.
Do you overtime?
I don't do overtime.
Well, if you did, that would make this all worth it, wouldn't it?
It would make it worth it. Yeah, I wouldn't have any tax. I wouldn't have any tax. But I would just be, sad because the government has no money,
Do you think this is just gonna be one of those things that he keeps talking about, like it's for
what,
4
Golden
years?
Dome?
I think the Golden Dome's gonna be it's gonna be like the wall where he just keeps talking about it the whole time. I think
so.
And nothing really actually comes of it. Because guess what? He's not solving an issue. There's no problem.
I think it's just a marketing ploy. I think it's just a media thing. I think he just every time he says it, it's like the media's like, "Whoa, Trump wants to do something with Golden Dome,"
and then he just does media. He's a TV guy.
Well, yeah.
Everything he does is media.
Yeah, it's all sourced by media gloat or media presence. So
What else do we have?
We have this story. So, to end it, we have a more of a light. We have finally actually.
We have a dumbass.
Yeah, we have that. We have more of a lighthearted story. So, California man who used underwater scooter in lake to try and evade arrest pleads guilty to fraud. So, this is an amazing case. Oh my god, it's so funny. So, I don't know what happened. There was a $35 million investment fraud scheme, and to his investors, he only paid $8.8 million to his $35 million invested. His investors obviously wanted that back, so he wanted to evade arrest. And so when agents went to go arrest him, he fled in a car, and then he dropped the car, and then I don't know how, but I guess he went to a GTA, garage or something like that, and picked up an electric underwater scooter.
Maybe he just had that on his car,
Yeah, maybe he did just have it on his car. Maybe it's Go-Go Gadget style scooter underwater submersible, and he just
so he had a mask. Okay, how did this work?
When he went to go arrest, he dumped the vehicle, and he was later identified on an underwater submersible device, it was like an underwater scooter. That's how he fled to
Got
police.
scuba gear on.
Yeah. So Piercy spent some time out of sight underwater where law enforcement could only see bubbles.
Yeah. So
Federal prosecutors wrote in court documents calling him a flight risk, which is very interesting.
I would say he's more of a swim risk.
Yeah. All
So
the
this
fish.
This is a lot of white collar crime.
Yeah.
How much did he? Okay, this is Matthew Piercy of California. He stole. He frauded.
He frauded.
Yeah.
He
frauded. He stole $35 million from his investors.
No, he invested $35 million, but he only paid back $8.8 million from the money he had invested from his investors. So he only paid back some, and then they went to go arrest him because he
That's
just kind of
fun.
stole money. And then he fled in a car. He dropped the car, and then he got an underwater scooter. And then he was underwater for 20 minutes.
Wow.
Until he was arrested.
See, I think I know what he did with the money he stole.
He
bought his scooter.
He bought his scooter.
It all went to that scooter and that scuba gear.
I guess. I don't know how he was able to stay underwater for so long. I guess the scooter came with like a scuba tank, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess.
This is such a.
It's such a cool case. It's so interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah. I think he really is like.
I would have gone with personal plane actually.
Yeah, personal plane. Yeah, like you got from Qatar.
Yeah, he got from Qatar. It's a lot of white collar crime. There's first the crypto guys and there's this.
Yeah, the crypto guys, and then we have a lot of, and then
Yeah.
investment fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he pleaded guilty, and he's got maximum sentence of 20 years for wire fraud, mail fraud, witness tampering, money laundering court. His sentencing is scheduled for September 4th. I can't speak.
September 4th of this year?
September 4th of this year. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's gonna be a really cool case. I wonder how he's gonna defend himself. Maybe he brings out like an aircraft next, and he's like, "Sir, look at this. This is what I was using, not the scooter."
I know this is I know this is not a visual podcast as of now, but can I see a photo?
You want to see a photo?
I want
don't
to
know.
look up Matthew Piercy.
Uh,
Hey, you guys at home, look up Matthew Piercy so you can follow along.
yeah. I like
Unless you're driving.
Matthew Piercy, what, like underwater scooter? Underwater scooter.
Images?
He ran a $35 million.
Oh, that
okay.
makes much more sense. It wasn't the kind of scooter that you have like wheels and stuff like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's not like the pole one. It's one of those.
We finally got a picture, and so if anyone's played Subnautica, it's like a sea glide.
He did Subnautica.
He did. Yeah,
It's
he
so
pulled.
much fun.
Yeah, it's literally he pulled out a sea glide. That's what
Yeah.
happened. So it's like a. So it's like a little jet turbine that he's got, and he's holding on, and then it's like a little ring around this jet turbine, and then he just like presses an on button, and he just flies. And then because the jet turbine is facing towards him, and he just like goes.
It makes much more sense because why would you need that little thing that scooters have where you put your feet?
Yeah, this isn't a scoot. Well, I guess it could be.
I get what else would you call it? A glider.
A glider, yeah.
Kind of misleading, frankly.
I guess maybe, yeah. Underwater, yeah.
Do we have a photo of him like doing it?
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. Yeah, he's
Do we
like,
have rest footage?
Your Honor, I couldn't have been going that fast underwater. I gotta show you my custom made scooter.
What does Piercy look like?
What is Pierce? I don't know.
There's got to be a photo of him in a suit.
Well, I
he
guess
did he did white collar crime.
Right. So it would have been in like a business suit,
Yeah,
right?
he's like-
Over.
I'm thinking he's bald. I
He's
imagine
bald. Okay, so he's like an alpha male.
Yeah, he's Andrew Tate.
Yeah, he's actually yeah. Secretly Andrew Tate. So he went from Romania to doing investor fraud,
Yeah.
and then
Hey, at least he's not as bad as Andrew Tate.
yeah.
That we know of, actually.
Well,
To be fair.
yeah. There's a whole Andrew Tate trial also going on as well.
Multiple, actually.
Multiple? There's
Yeah.
multiple?
Because he's got the breaking news.
Oh,
Not that
okay,
breaking.
okay.
So Andrew Tate is currently he's been in a civil suit against 4 women in the U.S. and that's happening currently. But there's a criminal suit that happened within a few hours of now of sex trafficking and I think rape in the UK.
Yeah.
That him and his brother, they always do crime
it was always
together.
his
It's
brother.
really
Yeah,
weird.
it was him and his brother.
So it's him and his brother are now being, I don't know if they got arrested, but they've been charged. So I guess they've been charged with it.
Yeah.
So they got arrested for it in the UK. So that's developing right now, and there's nothing funny about that.
There's no-
I mean, he deserves it,
I mean,
right?
yeah, it's-
Obviously. Also, by the way, I'm not gonna say allegedly because he 100% did that. So there's no.
Well, I think we should say allegedly just in case.
Nah, Luigi Mangione gets allegedly, but not him. He 100% did that. No one gets charged with sex trafficking this much and is not.
And is not guilty of
Yeah,
it.
it's like saying it's like being shocked that R. Kelly was found guilty in his like 3rd trial of doing like pedophilia. It's like okay, clearly there's a
There's a pattern here.
there's a pattern here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's everything we have.
Yeah, I'm Dylan.
I'm not gonna say my full name.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, now it feels weird.
No, it does feel weird, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's Finn and Dylan on.
Deadass or Dumbass. Thank you for listening.
Boom. Perfect. How do I stop? Oh, there we go.